All right, so we're going to be creating some smooth pieces that don't have any bumps in this section here. So we've got one that's or two actually that are going to be one brick wide and one that's going to be 2 bricks wide. And let's start down here with the one that's 1 brick wide. So I'm going to hide my other one there, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all the way up to here. I'll select all the way up to there, cut that out, and I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. So I'll select here, all the way up to there, cut that out, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this whole thing here, and let's see, I'm going to deselect these sides, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So actually, let's just do it this way. Make my life easier all the way around. So I've got all this here selected. I've deselected everything, sorry. So all I have is 2 edges on each side here. So I'm going to run bridge. I'm going to set my segments to 2. Make sure that's on linear. And, oops, sorry, segments need to be 3. There we go. And now this has left me these 2 open gaps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this one, deselect the ends, bridge, oops, pull the bridge back down to 1. Do the same thing over here. So select these, deselect the ends, bridge, and we're set. So we'll do the same thing on the top now. So let's just, sometimes it's hard to get those ones right along the edge, so it's good to just select the loop and then deselect these. Saves you zooming in so much to get that worked out right. So let's do bridge, set up to 3, and here, bridge at 1, here, bridge, and 1, and we're set. So since these ones are smooth topped, we actually don't even need the extra stuff here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab those 2 loops and delete them, these 2 loops and delete them. All right, now we have 2 of them that are this size as their base, and one of them that has a little ridge and the other one doesn't. So what I'm going to do in order to make this easier on myself is I'm going to take this whole thing, copy it, and paste it into that empty mesh layer that I've got there. And now I'm going to create the ridge on this one. So I'm going to unsubdivide to do this, otherwise it's just going to be a real hassle. And then what I've got to do is I'm going to come in here, loop slice, I'm going to set it to 1 and to free. And I'm just looking for the right height for the little ridge here, and I'm going to go at about 90%. I don't have an exact measurement on this, so this is one you would just kind of want to eyeball. Though, if I were to guess, let's turn on our dimensions tool here. I would guess that it's probably going to be somewhere in the ballpark of one of those multiples. Let's see there. Well, not too close, so it's 330 UM. You might want to go up to 400 UM, but that's okay. All right, so again, this is pretty small and pretty minor detail. The important thing is I want to keep this ridge the same size on all the similar pieces that I make. So what I want to do now is I want to inset this. But before I actually do that, I'm going to need another loop slice that I'm going to drag all the way up to the top there. So now if I go here and I select this loop here, and then I'm going to use shift right arrow, and what I want to do is I want to go to there and then down to that bottom edge. And I'm going to use my scale tool here. So let's go to our top view. Actually, take it back. Let's go into a side view. I'm going to zoom into the side view, but I still want to get access to my handles this way. So let's just drag this in. And the idea is that I'm going to be looking for kind of equal sides. So I want this edge here that runs along the top to be about the same size as this edge. And that's actually pretty darn close. I mean, it's a tiny bit short, but we can go in just a little bit more. There we go. So now I'm going to drop my tool. And if I subdivide, you can see we're getting there, but not quite right. So what I'll do is I'm going to start by adding a loop slice around this edge, which is going to be that actual hard edge. So if I set the count to 2 and the mode to symmetry, that will get me started. So now I can actually see at least the right idea. But if I unsubdivide, we'll notice one thing, and that's that we don't have any defining edge up above this. So I'm going to run loop slice, and now I'm going to set this, I'm going to turn it to free and set my count back down to 1. And I'm just going to drag this all the way down there. Okay, so I have one there. I have, oops. You may find that you get past your point where you can zoom when you're working on things this small. So sometimes it's a good idea to go to like vertex mode or something, circle a particular part. Oops, hit Shift A, and then it will let you get a little bit closer. These are pretty minuscule, so you still might have some problems, but there you can see I can get in a little closer. So I have this edge here, and I think this one on the underside is going to be a little bit on the, if I can even select it, there you go. It's going to be a little bit tight, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that one. And let's see, do I have anything up there? I take it back. That probably won't be too tight. I've got a matching one on the inside, so I'm going to undo that and leave that one there. So we can hit Tab to subdivide and see this. We're getting closer. Now we just need one running through here on the top side. And there we go. This one's all ready to go. Okay, now there's nothing on the underside on this one. It's a pretty simple piece, so we're pretty much ready to go on this one. Oh, one thing to note is that this is not perfectly level, so because we had run it off of a loop slice. So I'm going to get that loop, shift up arrow, scale, make sure that negative scale is off. I'm just going to grab that and flatten it down. It's going to be a pretty subtle difference, but sometimes worth getting the subtle differences to make sure something really works. Okay, and that's looking pretty nice. All right. We'll create the presets for all these here at the end. So there's that one. Let's move down to this one. And this is going to be the one that has kind of a corner, like a little walled corner on it. And it's going to run up the sides on the back, and then they'll have slightly little rounded edges. Oops, I hit Shift A there. Slightly rounded edges up on the corners here. So what we'll want to do is, let's get over to Model Quad here again. Once again, I'm going to unsubdivide. This will allow me to get a good alignment here. And I need to create a loop slice that runs even with this inner edge here. Now, what you might find is that this is going to be hard to align perfectly. So what you can do here, let me just select, actually I can leave out those sides there. So I'm just going to select the edges that run across the top of this, which are these ones right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my scale tool, and I'm going to turn on Action Center Element. Then I'm just going to click on this inner edge and flatten that out. So now I know that that is 100% lined up with that edge. So I'll do the same thing up here. So let's go ahead and run this. And let's see, let's put it down to 79.5 because I was running the wrong way. There we go. And once again here, I've got an edge mode. Got this edge then that I want to align with this face, and then we'll just scale it flat. Okay, so this has built the framework for us. We have we have the right general sectioning off, but we're missing at least one thing here to start, and that's going to be an extra edge through here. So I'm going to run loop slice again. I'm just going to run tight edge through there. I don't want to get too tight here because this is a pretty small section, so I'm just going to eye this to be about the same as the back side there. And let's go to this other side, do the same thing. Okay, so now I've got a section that I can work with. So I'm going to select this kind of L shape here, shift up arrow so I get the border. Then I'm going to bevel, make sure group polygons is on, of course. And we'll drag this up 6.4 millimeters because this is going to go up the height of 2 of these little blocks. Let's go up 6.4. Okay, and we know if we hit the tab key, we're going to get this weirdness in here, but that's all right. We'll run loop slice. Actually, here before we run loop slice there, since I still have it on 1, I'm going to run 1 through there and 1 through there. And now I'm going to run loop slice, set it to 2, symmetry, and there we go. Okay, the only thing that we're missing now is these rounded corners. Now, there are a couple ways that you can attack the rounded corners here. One would be to grab this edge here and move, or oops, set back to auto action center, move or slide it down. But this is going to cause some real weird issues with how our geometry flows. And it's going to cause some roundness in there. All sorts of weird things are going to go on. There's actually a way to do this that's almost insultingly easy. And that's to use our good friend the triangle. And so I'm going to select this edge here, this edge here. We'll back off a little bit so we can see the magic happen here. Let's even go over here so we can't see the edges themselves. Because when I hit the delete key, there we go. I can turn up my subdivision level on this so it rounds out and looks a little bit more nice. But there you go. We pretty much got that one set. And all it takes is if we unsubdivide, we can draw in here, we can see what's going on. That's that we've now created a beveled edge in the unsubdivided version. And what this is telling the subdivision surfaces is that, okay, I don't have an edge that I'm being sharpened to, I'm just guiding through this rounded corner here. So when we subdivide, there you go. All right, so there's that one. And the last that we're going to be looking at is has the same footprint as this one. Obviously doesn't have those caps on top, has one of them in the middle. And so we'll see the easiest way to do that. Then on the underside, it again, it's the same as this one, but then has a solid center. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start by selecting all of this guy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy that. So I have that all selected. Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to get all of these here. And let's see, that's as far as I want to go. I just want to cut those out. And I'm going to do the same thing that I had done before here. So I'm going to get these two, bridge, set it up to, oops, not too far, set it up to 2. This part here, and actually, sorry, let's back up. Let's save ourselves some time. I'm going to turn my X symmetry on. I'm going to select that whole thing. Oops, looks like this thing isn't quite symmetrical. Oh, no. I just turned off my symmetry. Aha. There we go. It was user error. Okay, so let's select all those. Deselect the edges. Around. Bridge. Select this edge. Bridge, whoops, wrong way, there we go, and this way, bridge again, and this is going to cause some lumpiness here. We're going to take a bunch of this stuff out, so it won't matter here in a minute. So let's go ahead and let's just grab that one and that one, and again, we'll bridge, so count up to 3, select these parts, deselect the edges, bridge, and pull it down to 0. These parts, bridge, and 0. Okay, so now, like I said, the only real reason that we're actually doing a lot of that is so that we can have clean geometry to base off of here. And oops, I selected one too many. I'm just going to select these edges and get rid of them. And we'll probably be able to get rid of some of this stuff in the middle. But for now, let's go ahead. I'm going to paste back in. Oops, real nice. Hide that. Didn't mean to keep all of that. So let's just cut out everything else. Then I'm going to center this. So we'll go up to basic, center selected on the X. And then we'll unhide. And now as I'm doing this, I'm actually remembering a subtle problem that we're going to have here. And that's that this underside, we went with a 16-sided piece. And on the top side, it's 12, so there's going to be more hassle than it's worth to actually get that to line up. So what we're going to do, we can still use what we have here, is I'm going to just select this section right here, copy it, and then I'm going to hide what's there and paste, and that'll let me select the pasted part. And then I'll take this, I'm going to move it up 3.2 millimeters actually. 4.2, so I'll put it right there. And I'm going to flip it over so it's facing the right direction. And then we can unhide so we get our bottom piece back on there. And now what we're looking for is we need this to actually be 4.8 millimeters across. So there are a couple ways that I can do this. I can turn on my view. I can turn on my dimensions tool, and I can see that this is really nowhere near 4.2 millimeters. Now, to actually get that 4.2 millimeters may end up being more of a hassle than it's likely worth. But there's another way that we can do this here. And so let's take this. I'm going to hide it. I'm just going to select the entire thing. And under snaps and precision, I'm going to go to absolute scaling. And right now, I'm just going to change under uniform scale this whole thing to 4.8 millimeters. Oops. 4.8 millimeters. There we go. And sorry, then uniform scale. I'm losing my mind. Got to click the button actually. So now we know that this is actually 4.8 millimeters. So if we unhide everything else, we're pretty much ready to go here. What I'm going to do to check here is, oops, I'm actually going to want to select this section, and we're going to want to get all of this here. And if I cut this out, let's let me clear out that dimensions tool. See, we have these 16 edges. Now the problem here is that yes, we can just bridge from here all the way into here. Let's see, where am I? Edge bridge. I can just bridge those, but then we get so much stretching happening across the surface. I myself am rarely going to be happy with that kind of a result. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this polygon here, and let's turn our symmetry on the Z for right now, so we can see we select across there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this entire selection right here, and I'm going to scale this out. Okay. Now if we want, we could get out of sub D to see this. And actually, here, let's do this. I'm just going to do it with this top edge. We don't need the bottom part to have that happen. All right. So now I can select these two edges. And let's now go to our X symmetry. I'm going to grab these two edges, and we're going to run bridge. Our count to 2 there. Count to 3. And this is going to come out a little funny here because we didn't actually get these parts bridged. So what I'm going to do is go to polygon mode, and I'm just going to select this entire thing and go to vertex merge tool, and I'm going to click and drag down, make sure that I'm at 0, and now you can see it deselected this kind of border region. So if I subdivide that, and we know that we've got that nice and clean. So here we go, we have this at 12 edges, of course. Yeah, in my attempts to clean up, I forget that I'm losing my mind here, which is alright, because we can just cut this out, and since we've got ready access to something that already has this in there, I'm just going to bring this into the scene. Select all that, we'll copy it, paste it, and now we can just get this edge, we should be at 24, which we are. So we'll go ahead and run our bridge tool and make sure we're down on our counts there. All right, and now this intersection here, this bevels in, and it actually bevels in the same amount as the little peg that's on the inside. So what I'm going to do here is, again, I'm going to unsubdivide because it'll make my life much easier. And I'm going to select this part here, bevel, and then I'm just going to drag in, should be about 100 UM, there, and then we'll just go down at 1.6 millimeters. Run loop slices through here. Don't need those to be too tight, so I'll just eyeball those. And then we're also going to want to bevel this one in 100 once again, just so that we get nice uniformity. Now you can leave the logo in here or not. I think actually the real piece does have a logo in there, so we'll just leave it. And there we go. So let's click over, check out our better real-time view. All right. Okay, so there we have these. I'm going to go ahead and make presets for these, and we'll be ready to go. So let's check over here to our layout tab, and I'm going to keep wanting to right-click there. It's not there. That's for material presets. So let's go to Save Item Preset. This is 1, 2. Let's call it mid, just because I know it meets at the mid there. Okay. And if you only have one selected here, the problem before is I had a group selected, and so it couldn't give me a preview for the group, but I kind of like having these, so I'm going to go ahead and end up rendering some more of these anyway. Let's go over to this one. And again, File, Save Item Preset, and we'll call this one 1, Smooth. And we'll pop up there. And then we'll go to wherever I put this one. There it is. And we'll save that one. This one I'll call 1, corner. Sure. And that'll put that in there. Okay, so I'm going to go here and I'm going to render out the little previews for each of these, and we'll put them into place. And come back in the next video. We'll look at some round pieces, kind of change up the pace from the square stuff that we've been looking at here. All right, thanks, and see you in the next video.